Are there pipelines running from America's courthouses to treatment facilities, nonprofit ones? A question raised by the fact that the magistrate judge out of North Carolina was neither a licensed attorney in her state, nor did she seem to see a problem with the fact she was the COO of a treatment center that takes mental health and drug rehab patients through Medicaid in the state of Michigan. Perhaps there's nothing afoot here, perhaps there is. But only lawmakers and public officials will be able to credibly answer such questions. We bring in Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee and Congressman Jim Jordan. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us.
You bet. Good to be with you.
What are your immediate questions as we look into this case? You know, lots of directions that lawmakers can go. We talked to a colleague of yours yesterday. He says that he's introducing legislation, Randy Fine's introducing legislation to potentially remove that shield of sovereign immunity from judges and prosecutors who release career criminals onto our streets. Lots of angles we can go on this. What's your take?
Yeah.
What are the questions that you have following this horrific story?
Let me maybe start first in the larger context. You know, I think Democrat policies have created this environment out there. You know, I always say when you defund the police, you shouldn't be surprised when you get more crime. When you end cash bail, you shouldn't be surprised when you get more crime. And when you have when you elect or put in office these soft on crime prosecutors, you probably shouldn't be surprised when you get more crime. So there's sort of that general concern out there. I think we need to continue to highlight that, specifically with some of the really terrible, horrible, evil cases that we've seen, where someone does something bad like what happened in North Carolina. I think if there was some kind of, and I've just heard this information today, that there may be some conflict of interest with the judge and this treatment organization that people are referred to. So I think that there needs to be an investigation there and find out if that was really the case and what all took place there. And then specific actions. I will say in our committee, the Judiciary Committee and the full House has passed legislation. It's a similar area where you have judges, I think, issuing these injunctions where they were applied nationwide. We passed legislation that said if a federal district judge, now this is a federal judge, not a state judge on a criminal matter, but a federal district judge issuing an injunction, it should only apply to the parties in the case, not to, in that respective jurisdiction. It shouldn't apply nationwide. So we're trying to reform some of that too. But criminal law, largely a state matter. Although I do think, based on some of the things we've heard said by this individual in the bad guy, the evil guy in North Carolina, some of the statements he made after he did this terrible action, that there may be a civil rights concern there. So our Justice Department may look at a hate crime issue and get involved from the federal level.
Well, on the federal level, though, what are your thoughts on Congressman Randy Fine introducing this legislation that, as I see it, it would remove portions of sovereign immunity from judges who release career criminals who go on to commit more crimes? Is that a good idea? I know there's pros and cons to it, but in your mind, is that something that Republicans can get behind?
There are definitely concerns there. I haven't seen how he's drafted it, how the legislation works, but there are definitely concerns. So we'll take a look at it. Congressman Fine's a good man and a friend. I think doing a good job for the good folks he gets to represent there in the state of Florida. But there are definitely some concerns that raises. But we'll look into it and see how he's drafted the legislation.
Going back to this North Carolina case, you know, the things that people are starting to gather from the backgrounds of you know, how we got here include the fact that this magistrate judge, you know, who's not, you know, it's not a full-blown judge. This is kind of like an assistant judge in layman's terms. But this magistrate judge was not licensed to be an attorney in the state of North Carolina. We don't know where all she could be barred, but it seems like it would be a sensible policy for all courts to have a judge who is sitting on a bench who at some point practiced law in that state. It seems like that would be just kind of a natural thing, but it's apparently not in North Carolina. Do you guys have any say in that?
Yeah, well, that's again, this is state criminal law matter. Maybe North Carolina wants to examine that. Their legislature may, in fact, look at that and look to make changes and make sure that people who are making these kind of decisions have the qualifications you just described.
Do you think Do you think in America today, just, speaking candidly, do you think that is potentially a systemic problem, or is that something that's kind of localized?
Well, the short answer is I don't know. But if that happened, that would seem to me to already probably be a violation of some code of ethics that the judiciary and judges are under. I don't know. We have to go and check. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's already a violation. Maybe it's not. And if it's not, then again, maybe we should look into that. I know our committee staff are gonna get all the facts surrounding this terrible event that took place in Charlotte. We're going to get all the facts surrounding it and make sure that everyone on our committee has that information.
Chairman, if you're not a member of the bar, if you're not a member of the bar, are you subject to those ethical concerns? I mean, I raised that earlier, but it seems like that's a strange loophole that could be taken advantage of.
Maybe, but again, there's certain ethics that judges have, and this person as a magistrate is a judge making these decisions. I would think that they would fall under whatever the code of ethics, whatever those are. I don't know. We'll find out. But this is so. Yeah, you'd hope so. This is in the state of North Carolina, and we'll have to see. That's why we're gonna get all the facts on this and find out about this particular individual who made this decision, what in fact was their status as the magistrate and whatever else. As well as the broader issues, this whole crime issue. What I know is what President Trump has done here in the capital city, it's working. 4 weeks, and every major crime category is down. The streets are safer now. People understand that. Shazam! You have more law enforcement on the street, you get less crime. Go figure. So I do think that makes sense. And then when you're thinking about what the president's thinking about doing in other cities, capital cities unique, no problem under the Constitution. In other cities where they're pushing back, where they got these sanctuary jurisdictions, these sanctuary cities, and they're pushing back against and in some ways hindering federal law enforcement, I think there could be a reason there for the president to say, we're going to have additional federal law enforcement go there and make those communities better and safer.
Such a hot issue, and it's being illustrated so tragically by stories like this one. Chairman Jordan, thank you very much for the time, as always.
You bet. Thanks for your work. Take care.